everyone, this is AlphaAli. Welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone's alright. So today I'm with Draxx. Draxx, I believe this is his fourth VOD review. The other three were on console and they were also bronze. However, this time it's on PC and it's silver. So we made a big jump, big improvement. And I'm going to be VOD reviewing Draxx today. Draxx normally plays a lot of more DPS and tank rather than anything else. So obviously not been playing a lot of Mercy, but of course it asked for a Mercy VOD review, so I'm more than happy to help and advise wherever I can. Once again, you can get your own VOD views. They have 10,000 channel points on my Twitch. You guys can simply get that by just coming and chilling in the streams, or you can come and talk to my lovely community that we have over there. And yeah, I think that's pretty much about it, so we're going to get into it. We're using the Infinite Seer Mercy skin with the edited golden gun. I believe the golden gun looks so much nicer now. So yeah, so let's see what ends up happening. So first of all, I love this use of cover and lovely use of like walls and stuff like that. We've already done amazing with that. Lovely boost on this Junker Queen. Still there boosting Junker Queen. We're doing really great with like position at the moment. I think still at this point I'd be playing a little bit more around the core and stuff like that, just to kind of like block off this hog, because you saw that he used hook, and then you kind of like want to play out of his range as soon as you know when that hook's gonna like be online again. But we'll keep going. Obviously lovely damage boost again. And yeah, overall it was a very good like first team fight. I loved how you picked the damage boost with the Junker Queen, but I feel as though in these kind of like off scenarios right now, you want to be pushing forward with your Genji here, right? Because don't get me wrong, like I loved your damage boost on the Junker Queen, especially like with the hog and stuff like that, trying to work him down and obviously playing with her. Perfect. At this point, you want to be pushing forward with your Genji though, because your Genji is wanting to attack the soldier. So you can GA and you can like play the fountain kind of over here, or you can play a little bit further back of like the stalls over here if you need to. So because at the moment you kind of like stood a bit like AFK on the point, and you have enough people pushing this point right now. You want to kind of just be with that Genji. Always have Genji, which is perfect. I don't mind the Junker Queen damage boost here. That's always great. Oh, but your team's kind of just rolling people right now. I feel as though your positioning for this section though, especially if you want to like be with this Junker Queen, I'd play a little bit more like cover like around here, so just like stood here, just looking at the Arista and stuff like that. Because the Arista currently should just use her spin, like block you into this wall, chuck a javelin and like jab you like straight into the wall, and then bam, you're like dead, right? I would say for this entire scenario, you actually want to still be with your Genji, right? Literally go in, be with your Genji. Even if your movement isn't like amazing and you're not really used to Mercy's movement, you can still go in with this Genji and help this Genji, because like especially at the start of the fight, because it was very much like you kind of just like ignored him and very much just like put your beam on this Junker Queen here. I would say open your vision up a little bit more, play a little bit more like this, keep your beam also like, you know, your eyesight basically on this Genji, and then when this Genji comes in and obviously he wants to attack this people, you can you can help this Genji out, okay? But we're doing alright, pushed in, which is great. Picks up your Genji, which is very nice. Okay. This entire scenario, you seem very kind of like lost, I feel like, right? Because it's very much like you kind of like look and feel like, oh, should I be on the point or should I be my Genji? Okay. As a Mercy, I would say this to anyone in any comp kind of thing. I feel as though Mercy should hardly ever be on the payload. Like what's it called? Especially when she has someone that can push up like this. The only time that she should be on there is obviously if the team fight's happening on there, or if you and your obviously whoever your main blue beam target is, and if there's nobody else that's taking a good angle, then you can push the cart. In this scenario, you wanted to be pushing up with your Genji, right? For this entire scenario, you want to be going up, pushing with this Genji, playing around here, like jiggle peeking this wall like this, and just what's it called? Playing with your Genji basically, and just kind of like put your trust in your Genji. So keep on going and see what happens. I do like this res, but I would have done it a little bit more in the cover. Like, for example, you know what's it called? You know that where this soldier is. I would have not just done it like straight on this open. You could have done it like around here or like around here, preferably probably around here with like the snow that's going on, just kind of like out of the way basically, because you kind of like stood in the way of the soldier kind of thing. We back off. So we're kind of like staying up, which is nice. I love your position here. Beautiful damage to the Jungle Queen as well. With this scenario, your Moira is healing your Jungle Queen here. Just put your blue beam on the Genji and help kind of keep pressuring with this Genji instead of like trying to heal up your your Jungle Queen. Because obviously the Jungle Queen is getting healed up. She's also like kind of like backing off a little bit. Your Genji's trying to engage. Put the blue beam on him. Like get forward with him basically. Valk. Nice. I think you managed to put the damage boost on for when she used the ult, which is perfect. Okay, that's... You are very lucky to be alive here, I'm going to be honest. So, we popped the Valk. I don't mind the Valk here, it's alright. Although I feel as though you should have been kind of using it to assist your Genji a little bit more. So whenever you use this Valk, kind of like fly out a little bit and play kind of like up here. Because you could help your Genji here, and then you could also help your team out here and stuff like that. So speaking about the res, okay? So your Moira ends up dying. I don't know whether you could have like helped, like be able to keep her up or something like that. Because I unfortunately, let's go back a little bit. Sorry, the colours have flipped, I know that. I'm just gonna see what happened to your Moira. So we Valk. I would have Valked and like come up here a little bit and like played around here. I'm still playing around. Oh, so you're getting just like playing all the way back here. At this point, you want to be damaged. Oh, so you do end up damaging the Jungle Queen ult, which is perfect. Whenever you do hear the Jungle Queen ult, you want to be damage boosting it. So perfect. I don't actually. Looking at that scenario, especially because they all rush onto that Moira, you don't help your Moira there. Which you've done the right thing of like staying with the Jungle Queen. You wouldn't be able to help her. And then, so you help her, and then you kind of like realize, oh, she's died. You need to kind of like, what's it called? You need to look at the scenario here and think, should I go for this res or should I like leave it? Right? You kind of like just GA like straight into them, right? And then you go for the res afterwards. If you wanted to go for this res, especially because you're in your Valk, you can like get the res and then kind of like bring it up and above this doorway like this, because it forces them to come out and also look up to come and get you, right? So you can literally, instead of just like accidentally flying into them and stuff like that, and then you can like get up, realize my mistake too late. Yeah, but Draxx, you also kind of like commit with it with like the with the res. Like you should like be dead at this point. Yeah, you do end up getting taken out. If you ever want to like escape the scenario, you kind of want to start this GA and then just hit your crouch button to send you straight up into the air, and then it should get you onto this high ground. Obviously this Echo is here, but it would have like helped at least like get away from this Kiriko and stuff like that. But I think it all kind of stems down to you kind of like coming in, realizing, oh no, they're here, going back out, and then still committing with this res. This should have been, even if you do make this mistake of like, oh my gosh, I'm with the enemy team, just help out. Go to this Torb, play back and stuff like that, you know. But it's all good, no worries. We'll keep on going and see what happens in a second. I feel as though like what's it called? The second point in Dorado is like such a long walk, it feels like. So your team ended up winning the fight, which is great. They're just gonna keep pushing it forward, which is perfect.
Come here for healing.
Obviously asking people to come back, which is lovely. Sometimes they'll peek you, sometimes they won't. It's just unfortunate. But yeah. Ends up getting it in. Telling people to get back to heal, which is perfect. Yeah, your Genji was dead there, like looking at all of it. At this point, instead of putting your blue beam on your Jungle Queen, put it on your Torb. Your Torb is the person that's going to be like the most up close and personal to help with like what's it called, to damage these people, right? So you want, instead of like being with your Jungle Queen here, be with your Torb, okay? But we'll keep going. Lovely peel back. Instead of doing a GA, like that weird kind of GA that you just did then, I would have done a GA and then GA'd out back here. Just to what's it called? To like keep yourself out of harm's way and stuff like that. I feel as though the majority of this kind of team fight though, she kind of like progressed forward. As soon as your junking progresses forward, you did the right thing of like playing around these barriers and stuff like that, which is perfect. And obviously going back, honestly, you did such a good job with that team fight, Draxx. I'm gonna be honest, it was very, very good. It's just with that GA, you want to like GA in and out. And it's the same with that res again. You need to kind of assess the scenario before you go for that res, because it's the same thing where it's like you end up falling over because you what's it called? Like, you're just going straight for the res, not thinking about how safe it is and stuff like that. But keep going. Gotta help your Torb, which is very, very lovely. But obviously we start heading in with damage boost. So, in these kind of like, because I've noticed you're very much defaulting your blue beam to your Junker Queen. Which, don't get me wrong, Junker Queen is a very, very strong person to kind of main blue beam target. The issue with Junker Queen is a very, very close-ranged character, right? She's very much like a Reaper, like a Rhine, where you have to get very up close and personal to get the majority of your damage. Okay, so knowing that, in this scenario, who do you think you should have your beam on the majority of the time? It should be your Torb at this point, right? Because your Torb, no matter the... I don't know how much... I don't know if Torb has, like, drop-off damage or not. I'm going to be honest, because I don't know too much about Torb. But you can damage with his primary fire. And all I'm saying is that at this range, your Torb is going to do a lot more damage than your Junker Queen. So chuck your blue beam on your Torb as you're going in like this. You can put it on your Genji too, but your Genji's obviously a little bit AFK at the moment. Like, he does not have an angle whatsoever. So your correct, like, thing to do here is to damage boost the Torb to get that damage in as you're coming in. Then once your Junker Queen goes in, then you want to kind of damage boost in there. Lovely use of cover though, I will say that. Like, you really improved that. I would have not gone for that res just then. Because you, like, so you're very much like stood here and it's like, okay, Orisa's, your Moira's fallen, right? What are you going to do in this scenario? You want to be pushing forward and you want to still be kind of going in and damage boosting anyone and everything else, right? You want to be damage boosting your Junker Queen. If you can like make the res as safe as possible for you, then that's perfect. You did the right thing of obviously waiting for her to like to kind of like not use her shooting abilities, and she was like instead using her spinny javelin. I don't know what it's called, but the spinny javelin thing. Right. So obviously she's using a little spinny javelin. That can still boop you out of the res because it does end up like booping you a little bit. I would have said, for this entire scenario, stayed with your Junker Queen or stayed with your Genji, put, what's it called? Put a blue beam on them and try and get down these people or make them back off to at least, like, over here. Just to make that res as safe as possible for you, alright? So we do end up, obviously, helping out there. Lovely GA to cover. I will say, Draxx, your use of cover has gotten a lot better, and I really, really like that. Here, I would actually be with your Genji, right? So, I know you're obviously pushing the payload, but push the payload from this side at this very moment, right? Put your blue beam on this Genji, because this Genji can, like, climb up this wall and then just spam out at these people. And might even get a pick, you don't know, right? Because you damage boosting this Moira will not do a lot of damage to this soldier. Sure, it might help, like, finish off this kill and stuff like that, right? But realistically, you kind of, like, want to be stood here and just damage boosting your Genji over this wall at this very moment in time, alright? Because I feel as... Oh, you do it now. Perfect. Your Genji's honestly doing a lot. But you kind of, like, you need to be looking out for him. Like, for example, now, he's very, very weak and he's just got out from doing all this, like, fancy stuff, okay? I know, obviously, Draxx, you don't play a lot of Mercy, so I would say... I kind of agree with what you're doing and not kind of following the Genji. I feel like I'm kind of talking to it a lot with, like, a person that plays Mercy a lot and is very good with their movement and stuff like that. That they should go in with the Genji and, like, be with them. But just, like, in general, like, even if, like, you leave him to, like, do his little bits and then come back, you should still, like, be keeping an eye on him and kind of, like, going to heal him or, like, get him out of, like, these tricky situations and stuff, even if you don't want to, like, commit fully in with him with the blue beam and stuff. With Blade, you want to be with Blade here. Even if, like, he dashes in and stuff like that, I feel as though with a Blade, you should honestly do your best to try and enable it. Why in this scenario is because you don't have a order to nano boost it. You don't have like a Kitsune rush to like speed boost it or anything like that. You basically don't have anything to assist this blade. Blade on its own is really, really hard to get picks with sometimes. So you want to be able to enable it, help like maybe like one slash some people as well, purely with your damage boost. Like it won't obviously do as much as nano, but it'll definitely help out a lot more. And I feel as though you're Valk too late here. This Valk either should have happened when the Genji bladed, or you should save for the last fight. Lovely use of cover, and also go into what's called, and the ping as well, beautiful. And yeah, end up capping it. So overall, I would say like your use of cover, Draxx, is so much better, and it feels like it comes from Zeldris. I know Zeldris has been helping you with tank and stuff. Your use of cover is amazing. I really love it. It's improved so much. And also kind of like your kind of like beam management and stuff like that is actually quite good as well. I feel as though you need to work on your reses. Res is the big thing at the moment right now, where it's like you need to kind of assess and think to yourself, is this res going to be safe, or can I find a better scenario? Remember, you do have a time. I can't remember how long the time period is now because I feel as though they shortened it for Overwatch 2. It used to be 10 seconds, but I don't know where it's shortened now. But you have a big time window that you're able to get that res off. So it doesn't mean that you need to do it straight away, all right? And also just try and assess like what's a safe res and what's a res you kind of like, I'm not gonna be able to res that kind of thing. Because I feel as though there's quite a few reses where either you have died or you should have died, basically, if it was a higher lobby and stuff like that. So for practice in general, in the future and everything. And I think the second thing is just kind of looking at your team a little bit more. I feel as though you're very kind of like, with your camera angle, you're very much just playing straight on. With Mercy, I'd always recommend putting Mercy on a high sense. I feel like your sense is perfectly fine though, Draxx. This isn't me telling you to up your sense or anything. This is me telling you to use your camera movements a lot more. Be flicking about and moving it like this. Just try to gather like as much information as you can about the team fight and know where people are. Because if you know where people are, it'll give you like more routes, and obviously if you do like get better with your Mercy movements and stuff, then you are like, obviously you'll be able to do a lot more, basically. You're able to help people out a lot more. It's just about like being aware, basically, and it'll help you be more aware, basically, by opening up your camera a lot more and moving about. Got a lot better since last time. 100% Draxx, honestly. Like, this is a massive improvement from like the first like couple of VODs I remember watching from you. So it's the same thing with this kind of like starter bit. I would put my beam on the what's it called? The Torb here. The reason is the Torb's going to get more damage coming out of the spawn. Once the Orisa kind of like pushes up a bit more with this payload, and if your Junker Queen is still playing this corner, then 100% damage boost your Junker Queen. But in this kind of scenario, sure, you can damage boost her knife right at the beginning. Once she's done that, straight over to the Torb, alright? So we'll keep going. Which is kind of like what you perfectly do. I have a really bad ping. Lovely ping. But now you need to think about what you're going to do with this ping, okay? Because it's all well and good pinging it and knowing that it's there. Perfect, awesome. You've done the first bit right. But now you've kind of stood here and you've ignored what you've pinged, all right? Where's the soldier going to peek from when he's running this way, okay? This kind of comes with like map knowledge a little bit more. So if you're like you're a little bit like you don't really know too much about certain maps and stuff, then obviously you won't be able to do as well. But I feel as though like always try and get a really good grasp on on some of the maps, right? So soldier in this scenario can run up here. It can either go underneath, but this is very rare that someone's going to come underneath here, or he's going to use the stairs and come up onto this high ground. And you've pinged it, but kept yourself in a really prime spot to be shot down if your sim didn't TP back, which she has, right? What you need to be doing is as soon as you've pinged it, you need to realize he's going to be coming up on the high ground. He'll want to shoot me down. What are we going to do? Reposition yourself. Come around here. Play around this cover. Once you see the sim set up this teleporter, you can then just do a normal like crouch super jump or like an angled like one looking up or something like that. Get up. Once you see the sim TP in, you can then basically come and help her, right? So we'll see what's going to happen. Oh, we're going to get the lockout. Go on. Go on, go on. Very nice. I mean, fair enough. I would have been up there a little bit like quicker to help your sim. But you did the right thing. I feel as though at this point you want to rotate round Like, I don't mind you coming over here for like a second or two just to kind of keep yourself safe. But at this point, you want to be backing off over here. The reasoning for this is that if this team kind of like pushes you forward and pushes onto you, they could just spear you off the map or like kind of like really force you into like a really awkward position. Whereas if you're playing over here, it gives time for your team to kind of like back off to like where you know, the next kind of like chokehold, which is kind of like around here-ish, where like your next chokehold kind of is, alright? But don't get me wrong, it is good use of cover though still. It's just I wouldn't rotate. See what I mean? It's like the risk kind of like comes in and body blocks you like a little bit. Lovely use of cover though. Obviously, I don't think it can really help your jungle queen there. It's the same thing again of like realize the res. You did the right thing there. I'm just gonna quickly pause this, just talk about this res, right? You kind of like do the thing where it's like, oh no, I can't res, and then you got out, which is good. This is a really good improvement from the previous thing of like, you feel like you can't get the res off, but you do it anyways. This is kind of like a scenario of, oh, I can't get it, right? The next step from this is to realize already, before even going in and trying to get it, that you can't get that res off. Which you kind of stood around here. Look, you just kind of like think in your head and think, where's the enemy team? And am I going to be able to get this res off? You have 4 people surrounding this dead body right now, including a Bastion in his turret form. One of his like basically his deadly form. Excuse me, his very, very deadly form, right? So literally, you want to you want to just back off like straight away. Obviously, you've come and done this now, which is very, very nice. I'm gonna see how this kind of like pans out for the rest of the fight. That's a very sneaky res. But it's like, if you want to get this res off, which don't get me wrong, like this is a very like good res. Like with this res, you can like obviously you like stood around here. You then need to think, okay, where can I go after this res? Okay, so let's quickly rewind it and we'll see what your options were. But don't get me wrong, like I like how you came and like did it. Like I would have just left here, I'm gonna be honest. But I think this is just because like people in like the high lobby stuff will turn around and see you. But anywhere with like, I'd say like below like plat or something like that, you can get away with stuff like this, which is always really, really great. So to become res, our options here, because I feel as though you kind of like messed up, but you used your GA, didn't you here? Did you? Oh, okay, no, you didn't use your GA. I was like, okay. In this scenario, you want to try and get out of this building, or you just completely just back off straight away. You kind of like hung around for a second. Whenever you want to do like, risky reses like this, you want to kind of like have a way out. So you know your Moira's here, awesome. So you can use your Moira to like get up and like kind of out the way like this, or you can just walk backwards. Literally res her, walk backwards, and you can just come back to your DPS over here. All right. Because I feel as though you're gonna, yeah, you do end up dying because of it. Because obviously the rest of the literally just like walk onto you pretty much in like her horse form and stuff like that. But it's all good. Let me just have a bit of my water just for a second, you guys, while Draxx gets back to the fight. So you're doing a perfect thing here, obviously waiting for your team. As a Mercy, you never ever want to be the first one out. Unless if it's like needed for like a contest or stuff like that. It's the same thing here where I'd like GA up here and kind of like hover around this kind of wall, like angelic descent around here. Damage boost this Genji, who's like going to be focusing these people. Because you can go and damage boost your Jungle Queen or like your Torb or, you know, anyone else basically once they start to engage. But you want that initial kind of poke damage, and you're going to get that from damage boosting your Genji right now, alright? Because at the moment you're basically just AFK, whereas there's other stuff that you can do. Okay, you know this Bastion's in his turret form. Do not stand in, what's it called? Don't stand in here. Because like literally you're kind of like, what's it called? Even though your Diva's DMing it, which is like perfect, she's doing her job, you're still putting yourself in harm's way if she decided not to DM you. So literally, if you want to be with your Diva here, which I wouldn't be, I'd still be with your Genji up here, if it was personally me. If you don't want to be with your Diva, then you want to be playing around this corner. You don't want to be looking. There is no need for you to look at this team fight as a Mercy here. Like, there's absolutely no need for you to be looking at this payload. Your job here is to literally just play around this cover. And just, you don't need to peek this whatsoever, alright? As you end up in the Orisa roll, try to get out, sadly ends up getting you. I feel as though all this kind of stems from you not going with the Genji. I don't know if this is you like being very uncomfortable with like movement and stuff like that. But it's just kind of like, you basically in this kind of comp, your main obviously switch now, but your main damage boost target would be the what's it called? Would be the Genji. Obviously he's switched now, and I feel as though you're kind of this is a very kind of like suboptimal Mercy comp now. I'm gonna be very very honest. Junkrat's good, don't get me wrong, with obviously what's it called? Damage boosting. In like small rooms and stuff like that. I'll talk about your movement at the end, Draxx, because I feel that's just a general thing. It's the same thing again where you ping it and then you don't realize the danger. Whenever, because you have, don't get me wrong, you have got an amazingly really good habit of pinging people and knowing like there's danger, okay? It's about then acting on that danger. You see the soldier. What are you going to do? You need to GA under him, make him drop, and then obviously then your whole team can surround him if he wants to really follow you, or just make him divert his, you know, beam onto someone else. Obviously, I know he was like focused on someone else, but normally, especially when you get up a little bit higher, if a soldier appears from here, who's going to aim at first? The supports. Because as soon as the supports go down, it's very, very hard for a team to be able to do stuff, basically. So you've done the right thing here, obviously going round. Joker ends up messed up his rollouts, that's fine. I love how you go on this flank with him. Did you have the Valk earlier? Yes, you did. I would have popped the Valk earlier here. Let's just quickly go back. So we go under, which is perfect. This is awesome. And then we go flank with the Junkrat. The Junkrat messes up his thing. And it's the same thing of like still opening up your vision. Because even though, what's it called, you're with your Junkrat, you still want to be opening up your vision to look at these like people on point, alright? And I would have Valked a lot sooner than what you've done. You Valked very, very late. Like, they're going, like, the Valk's good. But you did the right thing of going over to help your, Eva. Obviously, you still know where that soldier is. Lovely, like, use some cover around here. And then you just sadly can't do anything about that. You know, he's just there, just being mewed down with a visor. He did use it at the end of the fight, though, so you made him use visor, which is always really good. But no, with the Valk, I would have used it a little bit sooner. Alright, we've got Life Weaver. I have no, I'm just going to give a quick disclaimer right now. I have no, like, what's it called? Experience with Life Weaver. I've literally, played, I played probably like 2 hours of him at this point. Like, I've hardly played any of him. So I will just kind of give like some generic like support tips right now. There won't be anything like Life Weaver specific, alright? So good use of like spam damage and stuff like that. So you realize your team can't get in. Love use of cover again. I like your healing here. This is really, really good. Instead of like hanging back here though, because if you were Mercy, I would say your positioning is perfect. But you're on Life Weaver, right? So instead, you can still like play, but like you kind of like want to charge up a heal. Once they're healthy, flick, do some damage, flick back, top them up and stuff like that. Kind of like do that so you can like still like get some spam in, and like some extra damage, and then get then because Life Weaver I believe doesn't have fall off, as far as I'm aware. But obviously like it's a lot harder to hit shots basically when like really really far away. So yeah. But she's either back in the neck, which is great. You could pull her in. Oh, okay. You needed to pull her in here. Like, once she's got back into that mech and she's like, what's it called? She's getting a little bit weaker. You need to use your pull here. Because you can, like, then pull your diva right the way back here. And that's perfect. Because it kind of resets the team fight. Allows you to heal her up fully before, because obviously it's Orisa and everyone wants to start contesting. So this should have been a life pull here. Instead of you, like, trying to, like, go in and, like, try and heal her. This should have just been a pull. Nilla pulling a diva in her mech. Why Draxx though? I'm gonna like because she's used her boosters. Like what kind of happened in this scenario is the diva used her boosters, so she has no movement abilities and she's currently in their backline, right? If the diva has no abilities and she's your tank, bearing in mind, you always kind of want to keep your tank alive. So what you want to be doing is you want to what's called Draxx. She's already used it though. Like if you remember, look at the top right. She's already used it. Right? She used it the first time. She got back into it perfectly. She kind of like flies about with the boosters. This, as soon as she kind of finishes this boosters, because it's kind of her fault where she should have used the boosters to get back. But then it's still that kind of thought process of you could have done something though. You could have pulled her back. And at this point, she's used these boosters. You need to pull her back. Instead of like trying to get a charged heal on her like you were doing, you then need to pull her back to your team and allow her to basically allow you to heal her back up, and then you can retake this fight at this choke, which is where kind of like the fight really should like be starting, well, restarting basically, alright? Because then you would be able to keep her in mech. Because it's a lot like, what's it called? It's a lot riskier pulling the diva back when she's not in her mech, alright? Draxx, honestly, I'd highly recommend. I know obviously you're saying that you pull the baby divas a lot, which is great. Don't get me wrong. Pulling baby diva is great, right? But pulling, because diva in baby diva mode is very, very vulnerable. And it's honestly, it is so much better if you can save. It's like a battlefield, right? You don't want to be like, you don't want to let the diva like demech and then she's in her baby form and then put the lamp on her, because she's so much more useful for your team if she's in her mech. So it's kind of like the same scenario here, but with the life pull, except I'm using a battlefield to kind of like talk about it basically, right? So is whenever a BAP uses his field, he's going to use it before the diva demechs basically, because it keeps her mech, it keeps her with health in her mech as well, and you can like keep healing her up, and she still has all of her abilities. Once Diva's out of her mech, she has such little movement and such little abilities, and she's very, very vulnerable compared to when she's in mech. You want to try and keep Diva in her mech as much as possible, basically. That's why I'm just trying to get at you why you should have pulled her in when she's still in her mech form. It's so much more useful and so much more valuable. Alright? Anyways, right, so we'll keep going. Obviously keeping her up. Keeping Junkrat up. She sadly doesn't get back in, which is fine. Loving using the platform ahead of time though, so that's perfect. Nice pull. Why is your platform going up? Are you on it? Oh, there we go. I would have got up onto your platform a lot sooner here. Because, obviously, so the team fight's lost, right? You're not going to be doing anything where you are. Like, obviously, I know you're healing the Torb. As soon as he's full HP, because he's also backing off, you then want to step on this platform and go up. And you can either, you can use this high ground because you know, obviously, these people. Yeah, but your Torb is fine, Draxx. Like, a little bit later on. Like, because, obviously, yeah, you pulled him back, you healed him and stuff like that, that's perfect. And then you just had, you just had this, like, kind of split second of, like, you would kind of just, like, hanging about like this. Step on that platform, go up straight away. You have this really good height advantage, and then as soon as they start pressuring you, just drop back behind this, like, permanent cover and stuff like that. You need to be in the middle to act, basically are. So yeah, once again, I don't play enough Lifeweaver to know, so I'm just just trying to give like some general support tips and stuff. Because the thing is as well, I know you're saying, oh, I was helping my Torb. If you came up and then came over here, you can help your Torb so much more. Because you're not in a vulnerable scenario, like, of like being down there. You're set up on this like nice high ground, and you can still help him here, alright? So it's just kind of like, do that a little bit more sooner. Obviously do the right thing here. Get him out, which is like lovely. Nice ping on the platform again as well. At the moment, you're very much kind of healing people when they're full HP, right? You want to be, I think I would say, you want to be using, like, flicking between the damage boost and the healing a little bit more, right? You want to be damage boosting people, sorry, not damage boosting, I'm still thinking in Mercy terms. You want to be damaging people in these kind of, like, off scenarios. It's very much like with a BAP as well. I'm going to keep comparing it to BAP because I feel as though it's the best comparison I can make. With BAP, it's always like he does this kind of like shoot heal thing. It's kind of like his combo, and whenever like people are like above half HP, I feel as though BAP should be kind of going in and damaging people and getting in that damage, pressuring people a lot more. Yeah, but Draxx, the thing is, you don't need to charge a heal here. Like look at the HP of everyone in this team. Everyone is so healthy. So you standing here and charging heals like this is going to do nothing for this team apart from keep them up and heal up, basically. You instead want to be, when this Orisa's not using her javelin spin, you can damage. And it's kind of like realizing what the enemy team has as like abilities and knowing when you should heal and when you should damage, right? Because when Orisa's not using her javelin and everyone was like really healthy, you can obviously shoot people. But then when she's coming back with the, when she's using the javelin, you can't shoot this Orisa now. Like, you cannot do anything to, like, damage her. You can go and heal at this point, alright? Cool, keep going. Nice pull out. You did hit the right person on the plot, which is really nice. I'm just gonna quickly just zoom out and just replay that entire fight again. Because I'm gonna be honest, I was very confused about what happened. So yeah, so this is the point where I'm saying you should be kind of damaging a little bit more. Like, start damaging the suppressor and stuff like that, because everyone's still really, really healthy. Then I would have healed here. Beautiful pull. You pulled the correct person here. You did such a good job of pulling that person. Like, if you went to go and pull the Zarya, I'd be like, no. Like, you pulled the right person, which is great. Okay. So you immediately have your tree. Okay, you have your tree now. I would have just placed the tree down here straight away. Like, you kind of like placed it a little bit far forward. I would have placed it just in the center of your team, like around here. Give yourself a little bit of cover as well while you're like here. Because I mean, your Junkrat's already dead from the Orisa ult, which is like fair enough. And you end up pushing it. You end up putting it up out of the range of Moira. I don't know whether you would have saved Moira there, but it would have been so much better. You need to dash out here as well. Like, I know you're like playing in your tree and stuff like that, but you have this bastion, you have everyone pushing forward, and what's it called? Obviously people are, your team is backed off basically. You, instead of like dashing like around here, I would dash into here basically. So yeah. Obviously use your platform. To be fair, I'm only just saying like what I would do, because I don't play a lot of Life Weaver, so I'm kind of just what's it called. Say what I would do. You're playing in the correct position here though, like obviously playing in the forward. Lovely platform out of the way as well. Very, very good. Lovely damage as well. You did a lot better. 19 hours on Life Weaver. You have a lot more than me then basically. But yeah. So you've set up your platform ready for the next team fight, which is great. I love how you just like waiting for the Torps to stand on it. I love it. So Torps put his turret. Yeah. I would have gone to win it with him though. I would have like waited till like he came on and then jumped with him. Because then you get like some early damage in. I love that though with the turret. Suddenly has to get destroyed early on again. Okay, yes, I just seen you ping it. Okay, you've seen the soldier. Same thing. What are we going to do about it? I'm hoping that you're going to move out of the way. So ping it. Perfect. Priest firing it, which is lovely, just in case if it comes out. Lovely use of ping, I'm going to be honest. You do not need to dash in here. Like, I feel as though this dash is unnecessary. This dash should have been a dash over here, or a dash kind of like into the spawn, basically. This was like a very unnecessary dash. Like, you basically dashed into the enemy team. It's caused you to take damage. You pull your Zarya into the fight, which is quite nice. But I feel as though you put yourself at some risk by kind of just dashing in the wrong direction, basically. Lovely firing on your soldier. Lovely switch on the heals and everything like that. You did very well with that soldier, though. Dealing with that soldier, you did extremely well with that. Nice. So I think kind of with your Life Weaver, you just need to kind of work on where you need to dash to. Like, I'm trying to like think of a comparison, like with the dash, but I can't really think of one. Tom, it needs to watch soldier who's flanking. Good communication. Like, you did that really, really well. And you did the right thing as well, like marking him, and like you just positioned yourself like very, very well, basically, for that. So yeah, taking this high ground advantage. I wish you would have done this sooner with a lot of your other platforms. Nice, good pull as well. You need to back out now though. So with this, I love how you pulled out the Genji. Perfect. As soon as that happens, you need to just keep on shooting like in this corridor. Like, do not get me wrong, but there's no need for you to jump in because he has that Mercy on him. There is absolutely no way that you're going to kill that soldier at that point in time. You just need to back off and then start helping your team. I kind of like just turn and like face your camera like this just in case if you need to help your Genji. But I would just say back off and just kind of like play a little bit with your team. Good. I'm so glad you cancelled that tree. Oh, no. You don't need a tree. You don't. Yay. Yep. Good. I was just looking at you like you don't need that tree. It's okay. But no, good thinking about the tree though. Like if you placed your tree, I would have like been like no. But good thing that you started canceling it. It's great. Are you gonna block? You're actually such a troll. Lovely dash. Oh, okay. So with this, you're a little bit slow though, right? So I do like this block with the tree. I thought it was very, very funny, very, very smart, because you're stopping from taking this. To us, this is actually kind of a huge play from you. Just unironically, this is actually a very good play by you, right? Because you put up this tree, and then it's very much like what's it called? It stops him from using this higher ground visor because you have what? You have like a Zarya bubble to help block it. You have nothing else. If the soldier got up here and used it, this is a full team wipe. So honestly, you were very, very smart to put up this tree. But then you have to think now, okay, he's going to use that visor. Where else is going to use it? He's going to use it main, right? So you kind of like hung about, I feel as though a little bit too long around this kind of area. And then with this dash, I don't know whether you know this is like a mini here. This dash should have been to the mini because it would have helped you like get some HP while that Moira orb came through. But overall, I really liked the tree play. I thought that was actually really, really smart. And I'm guessing you probably win this fight. Yeah. So overall, Draxx, your use of cover is beautiful. Like it has improved so much more. I really, really like that. Things that we need to work on is damage boosting and kind of putting your beam on the person that's doing the most. Well, not doing the most, but like who's going to be the most effective at that point in time. Because there's a lot of times where you are still like with your jungle queen when when she's not going to be the most important person to damage boost. You should instead be there with like Genji at certain points, like when he was going up, damage the Genji. And there's a few points as well where Torb is has basically more effect than the jungle queen at that distance. So you want to damage boost in the Torb. I should damage boost Genji. Damage boost Genji is really, really good. The only issue with damage boosting Genji is it requires, especially if he's a very aggressive Genji, it requires a lot on you having good mechanics, which I know, Draxx, you don't play a lot of Mercy, so that's why you won't have as good mechanics. So this is why I was like saving it to the end, is that, Draxx, I'd highly recommend practicing if you want to continue playing Mercy predominantly, then I'd highly recommend getting used to the mechanics of Mercy a little bit more. Because don't get me wrong, your positioning is amazing, but it's going to get to certain points where your positioning is not going to be too great, because you can't use tech to get to better positions, basically. And it would have helped you follow the Genji a little bit more. And then Res, I'd highly recommend watching my Res guide, Draxx. I have a Res guide on my TikTok. I'd highly recommend going through and watching that, because I feel as though it explains a lot more about Res and when to Res. Because I think at the moment you're not really understanding when you need to Res, kind of thing. So yeah, there's kind of like that. And then with your Life Weaver, obviously I can't say a lot about the Life Weaver, but I would say kind of DPS a little bit more with him. Like you're playing very heal botty with him, and now, especially with his like increased healing and stuff like that, you can get in a lot more damage with him. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging around and watching. For everyone obviously stayed live, and obviously if you're watching this back on YouTube, once again you can get your own VODs. They are 10,000 channel points, and you're more than welcome to come and either come and look in my chat, or you can like talk to my lovely community over there. And I do them every Monday as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you all later. Bye.